First of all, I think we've got to start in a certain place, and I just kind of want to hear where you guys are at about it. Like, if I say young king, you say that's me, like what's the feeling? So I'm going to tell you guys, young king, say that's me. See, we're kind of missing something. You guys notice that we're missing something. Young kings.
That's me.
Young kings.
That's me.
You see how we're kind of missing it? So we'll go back to that later because we really got to feel it. Let me show you something. So our destination in life is ultimately to be at this place where we're super, like, forgive my drawings, but we're super like fruitful. Like this is our overall destination in life, and we can just put all kinds of fruits on there. But let me put our little crown on this spot right here. All right, so this is like our destination in life. That's our destination. Like we got to get to that point in life. If you think about like, what am I doing today in my life? I'm headed towards this idea right here, that I could produce so much on the inside that everybody else gets that from me. Like everybody comes to this tree right here to get things from me because I produce so much. Well, where does it start? The first thing that happens, you guys, in order to get to being that scenario is what? Anybody can answer this. It's the very first thing that happens before you even start growing into a tree. Yeah.
You figure out where your tree is?
Yeah, you got to figure out, but how do you know? Like, what do you have to do in order to grow that? If you were planting something, what would you have to do first?
Set a goal?
Yeah, but if you're planting like a real plant. Yeah.
Water it?
Water it? Okay. Before we get to watering it, what do we have to put? What do we have to do?
Plant the seed in the...
There we go. We plant the seed, right? So you plant the seed, and believe it or not, planting the seeds or getting planted, that's like the easiest thing right there. That's like the easiest thing to start. So you're in a basketball program, that's the start of planting a seed, right? That's the start. You're in high school right now, that's the start of planting a seed, right? What's the next thing that happens after that? Do you guys know? Starts to sprout. And then what goes on? It suffers. It suffers. Like this thing, there's like a cover around the seed and it starts breaking up and it's in the dirt, so it's dark in here. It's nasty. Somebody watered it, so it gets moist. It's not like a very good feeling or environment. So if you ever wonder, like, why is my struggle so difficult? Like, why are things hard? Because this is you right here. You got to go through some things. You got to go through some things. And so as it's happening, all these hard things are going on and it gets dark. When do we start knowing like, okay, it's growing? What happens next? It's all broken apart. It doesn't even look like what got planted at this point in time. What happens next? Do you guys know? You're like, we didn't know we were coming to a plant biology.
It sprouts.
Huh? Yeah, it sprouts. Which way?
Up.
Down.
Up.
Roots.
Hey, so this is so important because we always think like, man, if I'm not going up, I'm in a bad scenario. You're not in a bad scenario. It's supposed to go away from the light before it goes towards the light. It's supposed to go away first. Right? So this right here is an important part so all these parts are important in life right here, but this part right here where we start growing down, I'll put little arrows to help us remember where we start going down, that's where all of our learning and our rooting takes place. So some of us in our lives, like we've gone through different things and this has been rooted in the wrong things by accident. Like we got all kinds of different situations that have happened and so it gets rooted in the wrong things. The way that we get this part better for us in our lives is for us to be able to get exposed to other kinds of things. So we read things that will be helpful. You guys are here with me. We talk to people. We get in different kinds of groups that will be helpful. All of that starts changing the roots and how we get structured and what happens in our life. Okay? So the deeper that you can grow this and solidify this, and the wider that you're able to grow it and solidify it, the more that you give it a chance to grow up here. Okay? Now later on, this is where everything starts to happen. where that everybody can see. What's the most important thing? Is it what happens here or what happens here? Yeah. What happens here? So this is my question to you guys. On the inside, like, who are you really? Never mind what you show up as on the court in basketball. Never mind what you tell your friends are. Who's this person in here? Like, what are you really solidifying down here? And the more you think about that, you actually have a choice. You have a choice to decide, like, how am I rooting myself? What am I creating in my life? What kind of habits do I have? Because that's actually another thing. What kind of habits do I have? Right? What am I doing to solidify that? And then, whatever you produce down here ends up growing up and looking like this on the outside here. So it mirrors. I think they talk about that all the time. Like, if you know the tree is spread out, that means the roots underneath are as deep and spread out the same kind of way. Like, you could literally flip that tree upside down, right? So it's that same concept. So here's our challenge, you guys. Our challenge is for us to be able to look at this and think about, like, man, what am I doing with my life? And what am I doing with hard things in my life? Right? When I see or do or go through hard things, am I folding up thinking, like, man, I can't get it right? Let's say we're all hoopers in here. So let's say you go and you're like 0 for 10 on the jumper. And you're like, I can't get that right. Let's make it even worse. We're 0 for 10 on the layups, right? And I can't get it right. Are we expecting this? This is what we should be expecting. It's going to happen this way first before it gets better. We just got to go through it. So whatever challenges that you have, whatever challenges that you know, like, man, this is difficult, we have to know that eventually it's going to end up in the space that we need it to be in. Okay? But there's something I need you guys to realize, because one thing that we didn't talk about is what's on the inside of anything, basically. What's on the inside of the seed. The potential is huge. Like, that little old seed turned into that big old thing. Do you guys know that about you? That little old seed turned into that big old thing? Do you know that about you? And so in the beginning, when I asked you guys about the young kings thing, like, nah, just saying it, right? But I need you guys to see inside of you, like, there's a king inside of there. There's somebody special and they're called to be able to do something different for the people around them. And each one of you has your own thing to be able to realize. Like, yours and mine are going to be different. That's fine, but we need both of you. My point guard can't be my center. My center can't be my forward. Like, everybody has a role to start in. But you have to realize, like, that's inside of me, even though I feel like this. Okay, so we'll finish it up again, because now knowing this, what we're saying to you is, like, hey, there's a king inside of you. You got to be able to feel it. So when I ask you guys now, or whenever I tell you guys, like, young king, and you guys say that's me, you got to really feel it, right? Because you already been through some of these things. Questions about any of this? Clear. There's all this mud. Yeah? All right, so let me ask you, or let me tell you again, let me hear where your response is. You're ready now. I can tell you ready to say that's me. Young Kings.
That's me.
Somebody was missing in here. Young Kings.
That's me.
There we go. Young Kings.
That's me.
That's right. Raise up with it and just uncross your arms real quick and stand up and put your chest out and say, right? Young Kings.
That's me.
There we go. Hey, so every day you guys know, walking around, that nobody has to ask you that. You now, because we said it 3 or 4 times, you have my voice in your mind, and you can hear that conversation over and over again. All of you guys are young kings, and it's up to you to be able to pass that on to everybody you guys come in contact with. This is you, be fruitful. That's you, be fruitful. All right? All right. Man, that's my message, like, just simple to you guys, and I hope